What up, everybody? I've been skipping the intro. I feel like I need to skip the intro because the intro is so old and it's dated and it was from 2017 and there's people on the intro that I don't particularly care for anymore and a couple ex-girlfriends and whatnot, but old partners and all these old relationships that I used to have. So I'm skipping the intro for now on. And if somebody out there wants to record me a new intro, I'd be very acceptive of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could click share on Facebook if you would, please. Smash the like button on YouTube and feel free to drop us some super chats as well. Shout out to EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and his staff at 315-335-0516. They'll move pretty much anything. Let them do all the work for you when it comes to relocating and moving your office equipment or your studio or gym equipment, whatever. He'll pretty much move a zoo. If you own a zoo, Eddie will literally single-handedly move every animal from your zoo to another zoo or to your backyard or to your house. It doesn't matter. They'll do pretty much anything. Tell Muckles he sent you. Also, big ups to my friends over at Joey's at 307. You want a good meal this week, call 315-864-3527. It's pretty much the only way you're going to get a table. The reservations are filling up fast, so if you want a great meal, call that number. Shout out to Utica Coffee, Wake the Hell Up, wakethehellup.com. Got to give big love to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. 315-735-6162 is the number you can reach if you need some legal assistance. Also, much love to Saranac Brewery. Shout out to Ballsy. Ballwash.com. Use promo code members only for 15% discount. I think Sean Smith needs some nut rub in his life, Heather. I think he does. He should get some. In fact, I'm going to give you a sample so you could give Sean because I'm sure he needs some hygiene for his groin area.
I can't wait to give it to him.
I'm giving him some nut rub. He needs it. I got ball wash. I don't have the sack spray yet, but that's coming. But yeah, I'm going to give your man some nut rub because I think he needs it. It'd be the best smelling that his area has ever had. Trust me.
Oh my God.
Forest Fresh.
That's awesome.
On his groin area.
I hope he's watching.
He is watching. Of course he's watching. Also, much love to Billy the Liquor Guy. He's got a book out called Under Too Long. It's a story about, he's chiming in right now. It's a story about undercover agents and them infiltrating Al-Qaeda and bombs and untaxed cigarettes and biker gangs. It's a great book. Wherever you get books is where you can find Under Too Long, Amazon and Kindle and all that other stuff. So thank you to all my sponsors. If not for the sponsors, this podcast is not possible. Speaking of books, my good friend Heather Beebe in the house. We miss you, Heather, around here at the D. You have a new book out right now.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about it. I'm super excited for you. You've reached like #1 status on different charts.
Yes.
How cool is this?
Yes, super unexpected. I mean, of course, you want that to happen, but I don't think I was ready to see. And the whole day, we released it last Wednesday, just in the morning. You know, everyone pushing it out there, and then all day long you're just watching it and you're clicking the refresh and you're like, oh my God. And then when we hit #1 in some slots in Canada and you're like, it's an international bestseller, and it was so freaking exciting. So now we can wear the seal and the next. So all right, let me throw it out there. Really fast.
Throw it up there.
Women Who Shine. You can find it on Amazon. You can go to my website, unstoppableyoucoach.com. Then you can get like the actual custom copy with my mug on the front cover. So this is a book of stories, 30 inspiring stories from different women from all over Canada and the United States. Really amazing stuff. So just, you know, if you've been through something and you came through it and you rise above it, and it's awesome. So my story in particular is just a very vulnerable story. It's a love story, and it's not my love story with Sean at all. But it's in there, and I'm really proud of it. So, yeah, that's what it is. So.
Throw author on your long list of accolades that you hold right now.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to what else will come from this. This was a really fun thing to be a part of, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I think that helps connect people and really helps shine light into dark spaces for people. You know, we all go through our bullshit. And when we talk about it, it makes it feel a little bit lighter for the next person that's kind of feeling like, well, I'm kind of broken. And we're like, no, you're not at all. We kind of all are. We've been through it.
Yeah.
And everyone has a good story. So that was the coolest part, you know, reading the other stories and just like, oh, my gosh, like, look at that. Like, she did this. And I was like, that happened to me. Like, that's another story I could literally write. That's just like her story. That's crazy, you know, and like how similar we all are. You know, at a time when we want to be told we're so different and, you know, we're dividing each other and hating on each other and all this stuff. Is like, no, not buying it. We're really a lot more alike than we think. So participating in this was a true testament to that. So
there's 30 different stories, you said?
30 different stories in the book, yeah.
And how did you get everybody to collaborate?
So this is something that Kate Butler does, Kate Butler Books. She is just another, mom who took on this really amazing project to inspire and change lives. And this is, I think, the 8th edition in a series, an inspired series, that she has done. So, and it's just like her web has gotten big, no different than, hosting my retreats. And all of a sudden I have a pocket of supporters in the middle of Iowa because of 2 people I met, and now I have a bunch of people there. So it's like, I think it's just like growing and growing because of her desire to work with people and change lives. And I connected with her on social media and just started talking about doing it, and actually started talking to her about another project that's not out there yet, and nor I haven't announced it yet, so I won't just yet. But that's in the works with her. And then I was like, oh, do you want to do this? Because this would be really cool for you to do before that. And I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. I got a great story for it. Something in mind, So that's how it all happened. But her connections are just amazing. Some of these women are, they're all amazing. They're all amazing. But some they're pretty well-known social media influencers. And
very cool.
Yeah, Tasha Simpson is an actress on the Oval, which is a show on BET. So yeah, it's an honor to be a part of it, honestly.
How long of a process was it putting all these stories together?
So I jumped in late. It was, I think they've been working on this since January, and I came in the spring when I started talking about this next thing I'm going to be working on. And yeah, so it was really funny because I'm such a procrastinator in general. So I had to get all my stuff to be edited and whatever by a specific date. And they announced the book, and we released the pictures, and it was going to be published, and I was going to be a published author, and it was shared all over Utica and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shit, I better get my stuff turned in. So it's exactly how I roll every time. Yeah. So yeah, but we released it August 25th. And the first day, within the first 24 hours, we went from being I posted this on my Facebook page, so correct me if I'm wrong, but we were over 21,000 in the list of books, right? And we made it to 284. Wow. So we jumped that many books in a day.
Wow.
Which is really, really cool.
So there was 21,000 books being released that day.
No. In the charts.
Oh,
so
okay.
For numbers wise,
Copy.
The bestsellers. Okay. So, we didn't make it to the number 1 of all the books, but we did make it to number 1 in 23 categories all over. Wow. So including Canada and the United States. So, and you can get the book, in, gosh, I don't know, what was it, 8 or 9 different countries. So you go to that specific Amazon page and you can get the book. So it's pretty cool. Right on.
Can you get a hard copy book, say Barnes & Noble or whatever?
No, not yet. I do have a couple of places locally that are going to that have it. Angela is going to have it over at B. And then in Remsen, Albert and... I'm going to slaughter it right now in front of everyone. Fuck.
The place in Remsen.
Yes. It's a nice cool little crystal shop too. And Danny Ray is going to have it up there too. So, and that's who I've asked so far, so there'll be more, but
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm really locally, lots of great support, which has been really nice. It's nice to be from a small community that they're supporting that, and they actually know who I am. So they like to do that. And that's nice. It's really sweet to see what people have to say about it. People have started to get it now because they ordered it, last week. And they even, there was a tag last night with the custom covers. It was my picture on it and, sharing their thoughts about it. And it's special. It's a really vulnerable story in my life, and it has a lot to do with where I am today and how I continue to push forward in what I'm doing and changing lives and working in personal growth work and things like that. And so it's cool.
How many of your stories are in the book?
Just one.
Just the one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I could probably write a whole book like this, truly. Yeah. And so I'm sure I'll do this again. I don't know if I would do it in a group like this or do something on my own. I mean, there's a lot. I've been working on material for so long. It was a matter of time that I was going to write a book. I've always wanted to do it. So I have tons of stuff. But, I mean, even Sean and I have a great story.
Yeah.
So Sean has a great story. honestly, much cooler than mine, I think.
Really, with its
So,
military background and whatnot.
yeah, that too. But just all the things that, like, what we overcome in life and what we have, So, like when I say this is a love story, It was it was like, at the time in my life, it was like, this really cool situation going on, right? But that story ends quick. It's quick. So it's just a chapter, Sean and I, it's like your ride or die, you still have all your same shit. It just doesn't end. Right. So you got to work on it. You got to you got to, I don't know, appreciate that person so much that when shit hits the fan, the story doesn't end. Right. So that would be fun one day to do that. I don't know if he'd ever allow me to do that.
I'm sure he will.
But there's a big difference between that story and then just a chapter in your life.
That's the one thing I've always loved and respected about you. You're always challenging yourself to do other things, new things, things that are outside your box. And I think it's super important. And that's something that you've been an influence to so many, including myself. And to watch you grow, I mean, we go back years, and I've seen you go through so many different relationships and struggles and stuff like that to where you are now. It's truly amazing. And you're like a Sherpa.
Yeah. All right, let's calm down.
No, but it is. It's amazing to watch your growth, and I congratulate you huge and all the things you've been through and stuff. And you should continue to write more books. Yeah.
I like to just talk about the things, I guess, because it's normal shit, right? Nothing I've ever gone through isn't something that's high and mighty against anyone else. It doesn't make me know more about life or something like that. Like if I write about this, it's because I know more. And it's not like that at all. I guess I enjoy to write. That's one major piece. But I enjoy to share it. I don't mind sharing it. I don't mind being vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a big thing of mine. To get the things I've wanted in life, I've had to be vulnerable. I've had to put myself out there and take chances. I've always been a risk taker. I don't give a shit. If it doesn't go the way I had planned on, well, I'm making a pivotal change then, and we're still going to go for the goal, the long-term thing, because I can't stop, for the things I want, right? So writing books has been, writing in general has been a really good coping mechanism of mine to kind of put that energy out of my head, put it on paper, and, it was just time to I should start sharing this at a level that I haven't hit yet. And that was it.
And it's important to document your history.
Yeah.
It's something you pass on to your kids as well, too.
Totally. The girls, so for those that don't know me, we are a blended family. So I have 4 children. Sean has 2, he had 2 girls, and then we have our daughter together. So altogether we have 6. 4 of our oldest are all teenage girls. And my story is something in particular towards women. And they all read it. And my daughters were like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, you just weren't old enough to know that. Now you're a little bit older. It's okay, and they just loved it. And they, it was really cool for them to see and appreciate, because they were there. They're in this story, and they saw certain things, but they didn't see all these things, So I think your children come to appreciate, when we look at our parents, these are our parents. This is who was supposed to be amazing, and they were supposed to know everything, and they were supposed to do it like this, and they're literally they're the best. Even when they suck, we still idolize them and think that they're the best. And then you realize oh shit, they're people like us doing the best that they can, given every other thing that could happen in life, right? And just raising us when they have time and when they don't have time, and whatever. So that was a big realization for my older daughter. Wow, I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know. I'm like, that's not my job to teach you these things. This is my pain, right? This is not my job is to teach you to overcome the pain, right? So it was just really cool to see them read it and have the reaction.
Are they at the age where they think they know everything?
Yeah. Huge pain in the ass.
But you love them.
I do. They're great. They definitely think they know everything. And I try to be empathetic with them and not know what they're going through, right? Because I can tell her I do. Sometimes I have to catch myself. You think you know everything. You don't, And I have to be you know what? I'm just saying right now, you might not know what's happening. Please just make good choices. And all I have to like reiterate every time. They went to Pitbull the other day by themselves, and they drove out there.
Was the first concert by themselves?
First concert by themselves, and they did amazing. And they loved it. They had the time of their life. Their videos are jumping and dancing. Like, oh my God, here we go. Like, I know what I was doing at 17, and now my 17-year-old at these concerts, jumping around, having fun. And I'm proud of them, but I trust their decisions because I've given them opportunities to make decisions for themselves. And even though they think they know everything, and I know they don't know everything, the best way I can ensure that they are going to know at least some is to give them the experience for themselves. Because if I just tell them how it is, they're not going to believe me. Because you get defiant. You don't want to believe your parents. That's fine. So I just kind of like remind myself all the time, like, oh, they're going to have a good life if I let them do this. They're going to have great memories if I let them do this. Like, and just kind of let them have their own battles rather than raise them through my own pain, you know?
Did your parents let you have those experiences at 17 like you're letting your kids?
Absolutely. Yeah. It wasn't like that for all the kids in my family either. So my house was like the house they wanted to go to because my mom was very laid back. And my mother was a lot, I think, like me in ways of like, you know, active with the community, active with minorities, just, you know, raising us to be really open-minded people and in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York. So she was different compared to where we lived. I graduated from Madison. It was a class of 38 people.
Wow.
And my mom's from the city in D.C. So, and my mom grew up in a high school where she was a minority. So she was very, you know, not used to the environment where Madison, you know, was. So, but she loved it for her children because she moved around a lot. My grandfather was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. So she grew up like all over the place. And she graduated. They were stationed at Andrews Air Force Base in D.C. And she thought, you know, when I have kids, I want to live somewhere and I want to be in that place their whole life. So that's why she chose Madison. But, you know, definitely super open-minded to let us experience life. And, you know, when I was 17, I moved to Brazil from Madison.
Wow.
Literally. Yeah. So it was like immediately just like, here, figure it out.
Yeah, that always amazed me about your story. Is like small town girl from Madison, New York, which is a population of what, 2,000 or whatever. You know, I'm just kind of throwing that
Probably
number out there.
less.
Probably
Yeah.
less than that.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Brazil. Like, what a cultural shock that must have been for you.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Again, you have to be prepared for something like that. I don't think there was nothing in Madison that could prepare me for that.
So you were not prepared whatsoever.
No, I didn't speak any Portuguese at all at the time I got there. And that was a rough couple of months at first. So, but amazing, you know, like just the love and how they receive people in Brazil is just one of those amazing cultures. Very loving, always give a kiss. I talk about like this Cuomo being Italian, you know, I'm like, wow.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to bring it up, but seriously, like in Brazil, like you kiss everybody when you meet them.
Yeah.
When you leave a party or a barbecue or any kind of event where there's multiple people there, you have to go around and say goodbye to everybody and give a kiss. You know, it's just like really culturally like lovey-dovey. Everyone's like touching each other, you know, and it's, yeah, and you're rude if you don't. So it was just very interesting for me to like have to become a part of that and get used to it. So I wasn't looked at as rude. I was just being like American, you know? So we're a little colder than they are.
Yeah, a lot.
So yeah.
People don't realize on what other cultures have. And then here we are in America, and like Cuomo said, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, I'm not perverted, I'm Italian, which was the wrong choice of words.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I think we've become so sensitive in this country.
Oh, my God.
And it's completely ridiculous. I mean, what are some of the suggestions you think on how we can change some of that sensitivity? Like
everybody, it doesn't matter what happens. And I want to be careful because I don't want to offend anyone that has ever been through a situation where there was actual, like, you know, sexual abuse and things, because that's fucking real.
Right, it is 100%.
But realistic, like, all right, so I'm a woman and some call me pretty. That's fine. And I know, and I'm not trying to be, you know, with an ego when I say this. I know that there are things that I will get away with because I'm a pretty white girl. And I'm saying that because I've seen it. I'm not saying that because I think I'm good. No, that's not true. I've seen it. And in my job at the bank, when I was working in banking for several years, old men would come in, they'd want to work with me, and they'd kiss my hand, and they'd sit at my desk and say things that were inappropriate, not inappropriate like in a sexual way, just being like really kind, you know. And in my generation, if somebody sat at my desk and said that to me, I'd be like, dude, you're being creepy. Shut up. Like, and these men, that would be the story I'd come home with. Like, oh my God, this guy like wants to take me out to lunch. Like, so weird, you know, and like, say no. No thanks. That's it. That's all you got to say, you know? And there are certain things that in age groups that was acceptable. Kissing somebody's hand was acceptable in a certain age group. You don't like it, don't give somebody your hand. If they're pulling your hand up to your face, pull it away. I don't know what to tell you, right? So if you don't like it and you don't think it's appropriate, tell that person that that was inappropriate and I don't like that. Because they do, I think it is also important that people who are interacting with somebody outside of their generation, that they do understand something that they do may be rude,
right,
or feels very aggressive or whatever. Like, I think we both have a responsibility to teach each other how we should be treated, right? No different than, you know, a young person coming in somewhere and sitting on their phone all day. They're not intending to be rude. But an older generation would be like, that kid is rude. He has no manners, no etiquette, blah, blah, blah. No, he's probably just being a 22-year-old because that's what they do right now, you know? So we take everything personal if it's not the way we are used to doing it or seeing it, right? And that's got to stop because that's causing more problems than it is helping, you know?
Yeah, I think it's important, too, to express yourself in a face-to-face manner, too, and not hide behind text and not hide behind social media. I think it's more important to do what we're doing, talk face-to-face, especially if there's that generational gap.
Yeah.
And I feel like the younger kids have no clue on how to express themselves in a personal standpoint.
Yeah. But here, so I was funny that you mentioned this because I was literally thinking about this earlier. And we look at kids now like, oh, kids these days. I don't think there's anything wrong with kids these days. Okay. We have to also look at the parents that raise these kids, right? Because kids become products of their environment. We have these huge ass houses with large white picket fences everywhere, and we don't let our kids leave our own houses. Why? They don't. And then we wonder why they can't communicate with people and they want to sit on their phone. Well, that's what they've been doing for 15 years. So, and now you're going to expect that they're going to know, you know, how to do anything else. They don't even go on the playground. They don't even go anywhere else where there's other social people in their life other than their family members that come over and play in their own backyard, in their own pool, in their own trampoline, their own stuff. That playgrounds are empty.
Right.
Those are the places people are learning skills that they need.
It's sad to see, too.
Yeah, it's true. So really, okay, so what's wrong with this time, you know, the generation of this time, or what the fuck am I saying? What is actually wrong with the kids right now, right? No, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think we've raised them to be this way, right? They didn't magically come out into life being this way. Nobody magically comes out into life being this way unless you have some mental conditions or physical conditions that you have to deal with, right? Everything else we're products of our environment.
I think the kids these days are smarter than we were because they have all the information at the palm of their hand.
They have different
tools.
tools.
I also think there's a social disconnect that they have. And like, God forbid you get a 16-year-old kid to pick up a phone and make a phone call. They won't do it. They get scared. They actually get nervous.
Because they never had to.
They never had to.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, too, when you bring up the parenting, I think it's important for the parents to, you know, tell them, put the phone down for a while, you know, or take it away from them for a little while and go outside and play basketball or go outside and mow the lawn. I mean, how many kids these days do you know mow the lawn? None. They don't. They don't know how to. Let's teach them. And then it also comes with education as well. Like education, they should be not learning, you know, some of this freaking Common Core math, which is ridiculous. They should learn how to balance a checkbook or how to wash clothes.
Yeah, fuck the checkbooks; those are old. Like I would give them a debit card and start making them do stuff.
Debit card or learn credit scores and all that. Right.
Yeah. The impact of that.
I dated myself by saying checkbook. Right. Well, but learn how to mow the lawn or wash clothes or wash dishes or you know, fix something and do maybe mechanical type of work or something. Put the phone down for a little bit. Maybe you would need the phone to watch a YouTube video on how to do this and stuff. But they are smarter. They're smarter in a book standpoint. You know?
Totally. Well, there's just so much out there that they have access to, and they've been trained to use it. Where I don't think, you know, I would say my generation is like in that gray area of like we have a lot of access to everything. We know how to use it. Like I returned to school in my late 20s, so I definitely know how to find information anywhere if I need to. But I think the parents, there's a problem there with that because they want control, you know? So, like, when I ground my kids and I take their phones away, even I feel like, oh, you know, like, I want to be able to get a hold of them if I need to get a hold of them. Like, why? Why do I feel this way? You know, like, we've kind of created this for ourselves. When I was a kid, if I didn't have a ride home from school, I sat on the curb outside of the building. The janitor, nighttime janitor, would be like, is someone coming to get you? I'm like, I think so. You know, there's a payphone sitting there. You'd call really fast, do the clock call, and be like, come get me. You know, and it's like, say your name after the beep. You'd be like, come get me, and hang up. You know, so it didn't cost you any money, didn't cost them any money. Like, my kids wouldn't know what to do. You know, if I took their phones away and said, figure it out. You got to get home from practice, figure it out. They wouldn't know what to do, you know? So, and we've tried. We actually, like, if they have, because we have so many, if there's 3 different time frames that people got to get picked up, you're going to sit there, you're going to wait, you know, and the phone will start blowing up. Is someone coming to get me? And like, I told you this morning already, you're waiting because I got to go there. I'm not going there 3 times, you know? So it's just funny, but we create this. We create this monster. Yeah. There should be a payphone in every school lobby. Specifically to
Are
get
there even
payphones
payphones anymore?
No,
I haven't seen one in I don't know, 20 years.
Did you ever have to do that though? If you call collect and it's like when you say your name after they come get me,
yeah, real
then
quick.
you hang up.
I know what you mean. Sean's saying all our kids mow the lawn.
They do.
And it's
Hell
important.
yeah, they do.
Chores are important.
Yeah, and they hate every minute of it, and they
Right.
let us know every time how they don't have any friends. They have to do this, and their friends say blah blah. And I'm like, I don't care about your friends. I don't. This is your job right now. So, and I'm always on them.
Yeah.
I don't. And because they go back and forth, we share custody. When they leave, I'm like, this is not a hotel. Tidy up your room, get your laundry situated, and then we'll go. But I don't want disrespect, you know, because they shouldn't ever feel unsettled somewhere when they come home is like a mess, you know, because they left it a week ago like that. And so yeah, but they have their responsibilities, and I'm hard on them. I still feel addicted to their electronics and them having electronics for sure.
Yeah. Crazy. I've never even heard that before, but now that we're having this conversation, it's important to teach them these life skills that you need growing in life.
Yeah.
You know, you become an adult. You need to learn how to wash clothes, wash dishes, and mow a lawn.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to do these things.
Oh, totally. Oh, my daughter, she was crying. We were talking, and she's crying. And she's like, "You don't understand me." And I'm like, I'm trying to understand you, but sometimes, like, you're literally trying to manipulate this conversation that I'm some mean, horrible mom, and I'm not trying to be your best friend right now. Like, I'm literally trying to be your mom right now, and you're trying to make me feel bad because I don't want to be your best friend right now. And I think you're missing the point, you know? And she's crying, and they make you feel so bad, you know, because parenting is hard. But I have to, like, you know, I was like, okay, I need my life coach, you know, in my mind, you know, when I'm thinking of the things I talk to them about. Like, I got to remember the bigger picture here. Am I teaching her how to fish, or am I giving her fish, you know? And I really got to remind myself sometimes, because I get really sucked into them being like, oh, Mom, you know? And then I'm like, ew, no, don't do it, you know? This is hard. You love them, you know, but you don't want to see them fail either, and you don't want to do it for them every time.
With all that you got going on, life coaching, parenting, writing a book, doing other things, schooling and whatnot, like, how do you find time to unwind? Like, what do you do to, like, relax? I'm sure you need your me time just to, like, download energy and pick up that creative battery a little bit more, right?
Yeah, it's hard. Actually, the last couple of months, I haven't had a babysitter at all. And I'm like ready to kill everybody. Sean's ready to move out. I'm not kidding. It's been rough because I can't, when I'm working, you know, I'm constantly in coach mode, and I do a lot of coaching,
You're
you know,
a grinder.
throughout this. And then, you know, the book wasn't that hard. The book was easy because that's like it's like an artist, like, here, go draw. Great. I love writing. People don't realize I'm a writer. I love writing. I have lots of journals and notebooks I've been writing in for years, back to 1995.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was a kid. I was in like 8th, 9th grade when I started, you know, keeping track of things. So, but you know, turning off and winding down for me is very hard to do because I have always somebody depending on me. And I was telling Sean, I feel like a secretary at the family because I'm all these, you know, moving parts all the time, plus my own stuff. But it is really important when I have my usual sitter who can help me. I love to, like, you know, go hang with friends. I love seeing live music. I love music in general. It's like really a good passive energy. And then just like I don't know, fire out back, just doing nothing, just sitting on the couch doing nothing. I don't even like to like talk or watch a show. I just want to sit there, go on my phone, kind of zone out, because I don't know, I'm on all the time. But I think on the flip side of that, it is really hard for me to relax too. My personality type, I'm very high strung. So I think that's why I do get so much done. So I have to be aware of that sometimes, like, because Sean's like, dude, you're exhausting. So sorry. Like, it's true, I'm just very like busy.
Yeah.
And not everyone is this busy, and that's okay. So, but yeah.
You do these women retreats too. Do you get some time to unwind during those, or are you constantly on the go, go, go when you're doing these retreats?
So yeah, I would say like, those are go, go, go a lot. I'm organizing everything. I do everything there for them.
Yeah.
So literally picking them up from the airport, bringing them to the house. And then every day, like I do some group facilitation work. So we're doing all that. And then I do some one-on-one time. So the day that everyone gets to unwind, usually I'm doing back to back. Everybody gets an hour with me. So that's like the day of relaxation turns into like my hardest day, because I'm, back to back, with everybody. So, over the years, I've restructured how that looks just to kind of help me and my mind better, so I can be a service in 100% capacity, not like, by the last 3 people, I'm like, I don't care about your shit, because that's what you feel like,
Yeah, you get mentally drained, right?
You do. It's an energy, like what coaching is, it's definitely something that you are pouring, out, and I don't know, how do I explain this? They're pouring on you, right? And you have to receive it without letting it pour into your personal time, pour into, so you want to receive it and be a sounding board with them to push forward in their life, whatever's going on. So it's hard to like not take it in and internalize like what they're going through. Does that make sense? It's kind of deep. I don't know. So it's hard. It's really hard because you're constantly being told really difficult things. And you want to be 100% to be able to talk about it, first of all, without offending them, while listening to them, and also, meeting them where they're at. So it's really hard. Everybody's different too. So somebody might be at a higher vibration, they're doing okay. They've had some difficult shit going on, but they're doing okay. Or some people are in like a really dark place, so you got to like get on that level, and then you go to the next person, they got to get on that level. So it's hard.
So you have to bring your level down sometimes just to communicate?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, because you don't, if ever I don't do that, if I can't, and I'm sure it's happened because we're human, right? We can't always mix with people. Sometimes it's just like, ugh, I'm not feeling this right now, and that can happen. It can happen in coaching. It can be like, I'm not even like, I don't read anything from you right now. Like, what's going on? I just like, you're confused. I'm confused. That's all I'm reading is confusion. I don't know what to tell you. I had that happen.
I'm sure.
Once, and I told her, like, I think we should cancel right now because this is not, I don't know what's happening, so, cause it's true. If you, if you can't be a coach, then have integrity, don't, right? But yeah, you definitely, if you don't get on their level, and you're coaching down to them, that can feel like a bit harsh, and you don't want to be harsh. You don't want to tell somebody something they're not ready to hear. That can seem like you're persecuting them, like you're better than them, and you're never better than them. So you want to make sure you hear them and try to hear where they're at, so you can be with them and best know where to go to get them forward. Where I may go to go forward is a bigger jump than they can do right now. And I have to recognize that, or else they're not going to want to work with me. I got to assess where they are. How far can they jump? What is a jump to them? What's the one jump that they want to take versus the one they're avoiding? The one they need versus the one they want, whatever. So it's really important. You got to get on their level.
Some people can drain your energy, as I like to call them, energy suckers.
Yeah.
How do you deal with them? And I'm sure you have to coach a lot of those, and then without having that condescending attitude towards them, like how do you deal with like people that can drain you?
Yeah, I think this is an important question because you, first of all, as a coach, I have an agreement with every client I have, and the agreement clearly lines that if you're going to work with me, you're going to be coachable. If you're going to work with me, you're going to do your homework. If you're going to work with me, you're not going to not show up, right? So there's different things. So somebody who's draining my energy basically is someone who would not go along the line with the agreement, right? If you can tell me anything, it's not going to drain my energy. But if you start doing things that lack integrity on what we've agreed on in our coaching relationship, that's an energy drain, right? You could tell me anything. It's not going to drain my energy. You're not going to disrespect me by telling me something that's horribly terrible, unless you like murdered children and did something terrible. Like I can't judge what you're doing. I'm not there to judge what you're doing. I hear some interesting things. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to say, okay, I'm showing up. Are you showing up? That's it. If you don't show up, then okay, that's an energy suck because you're not showing up and I showed up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would say it's
Kinda
happened
disrespectful too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's it. So if it's disrespectful, then it's an energy suck. And so every relationship that's out there, whether it's in your romantic relationships, your work relationships, whatever, you have agreements in the beginning. What do I expect out of you? What do you expect out of me? Because if we're not at least showing up for what we expect out of each other, then we're not going to work. We're not going to understand and respect each other, Because then when you start to disrespect it, you're going to be like, okay, you don't respect my showing up, or vice versa, right? So, yeah.
When you do some life coaching, is it just pretty much one-on-one, or do you do couples as well? Or
I do couples. I do men, women, couples, and even I would say like really lately, especially a lot of like co-parenting stuff, which has been awesome. Especially because it benefits. It really benefits the kids. It really benefits the kids to have self-awareness around your own emotional intelligence during a difficult time. Like divorce is really freaking hard, and it's scary to see how this affects the children. But it truly doesn't have to be a negative experience if you're aware of the bullshit that you're doing and you're aware of the bullshit they're doing and not engaging in that, So that's hard. So I love doing it because it really benefits children that they did not pay, they didn't, sign up for this, and they're just there. So
try to do what's best for the children.
Yeah, but it's really hard to see because when you're emotionally, high strung in that moment, you just like these knee-jerk reactions, and those are the ones that get you every time. And when somebody else is doing something that gets you triggered like that, and you react instantly to, rather than like calm down, see what's going on here, what's the bigger picture, what could be beneficial to everybody versus just this moment, that's really hard to train yourself to do it. But once you do it, it's so much easier. And then you can let them do whatever they're going to do. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, no one's reacting. I'm bored, and then they stop naturally. So, yeah.
Man, what a life you have, though. I mean, it's so on the go. You don't stop at all.
Yeah. We're busy.
We've got a bunch of people checking in. A lot of people saying hello out there. And
hi.
We got to get Sean some ball wash, so I'll make sure we get that in. Joe Harrison saying, great job. So happy for you. Very influential.
Oh, Joe from New York.
Yes. I don't know. Then there's somebody from Puerto Rico, and I can't read Spanish. So
come on, Z, give it a try.
No.
Oh, come on.
Felicia Santonos, Heather Diaz, whatever. That's not me. Kristen Johnson, proud of you, Heather. Proud to know you, Heather, actually. Tammy's saying, hi, Heather, so happy for you about the book. Glad to know you. Tammy's also saying it's true. I'm 51, had chores to do every day, but if I didn't do them, I didn't get an allowance. I always wanted to be outside when I was younger. I think that's the opposite nowadays is the kids want to be inside, and I think the punishment should be go outside.
Hell yeah.
Right? Give me your phone and go outside.
This is the problem, that the parents have fear of what could happen outside, so they don't let them go outside because they don't have control on what could happen. And the reality is you're taking your child's opportunity away to navigate a problem when they see one. Your kid is going to have problems when they're 25 years old. They need to be able to sense that energy when something feels weird. Like when when you're around someone, you get a vibe, you're like, oh, this feels weird.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This guy is like, this is creepy.
Yeah.
That feeling you get from playing outside when you're a kid. If you don't play outside with other people or around other people or exposed to other situations in life, you will not have that feeling. And those are the people that grow up and get themselves into situations that are hairy.
It's an excellent point.
Yeah.
You really can't grow if you're stuck inside that bubble, right?
Yeah, you can't. And I hate, and there's probably a lot of parents that don't like to hear this, but it's true. And if something were to happen to you right now, what would your kid do if you've done everything for them?
Yeah. Is there such thing as over-parenting?
Helicopter parenting. There's a word for that.
There is.
Hell yeah.
Describe that. Explain it.
you're just hovering over your kids everywhere they are.
Yeah.
You don't give them a minute.
Right.
And you can love your kids and you can support your kids, but it's not necessary to give your kids a successful adult life by you hovering over them. You know, it's not how that works, you know. And if you hover over them and you continue to do that as they get older, like, they're not going to know what to do without you. And, you know, it's going to cause problems for their relationships because you're going to want to be hovering in over their life, and their partner's going to be like, what the fuck? Why is your mom like outside the window and we're having sex? Like, you know, it just creates a lot of problems. It's just, you see it. I don't like my kids to even have friends that have hovering parents. I don't like that.
Really?
No, we don't. It doesn't fit well with my parenting style.
Now, how do you?
And they usually don't like their kids playing at my house.
How do you? Right. That's a good way to find out how the parents are helicoptering parents.
Yeah.
But how other ways do you find out if other parents are, you know, especially in your inner circle? Like, do your children tell you?
Yeah, some things that they'll say.
Observe, or?
Well, so I mean. All right, so we moved into Utica out of mercy. I moved into Utica, and I live very close to the hood. Give me a break. You know, I love it. First of all, I love Utica, but there were kids that were not allowed to come here and play because I moved into Utica, and I'm like, how sad is that? Like, then I don't really want those kids at my house. Like, if you have a parent that thinks that you're any better than being around here, you know, so that's a clear sign, right? The kids that aren't allowed to play at my house in Utica, like, don't be friends with those people because they're definitely not my people. And then, you know, certain questions, like, they'll call, like, asking questions like, oh, who's blah blah, and it's like, are you questioning my ability to take care of my children when they're here? Like, if you're questioning my ability to take care of my own children, then don't send your children here, because I don't want to have to answer to anybody when it's in my house, my rules. If that doesn't fit, then don't send them here, you know. So that's like another, you know, clear red flag of kids that I just don't want over. So, but I don't know, I love, like, my kids' friends are awesome and their parents are awesome, and some of them have, you know, one of my younger daughter's friend, they've been friends since they were like 3, playing AYSO together. And together, like, a powerhouse in soccer, and we just love her. So her parents are awesome, and yeah. So
your kids go to public school?
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So my older girls go to Whitesboro because I never moved them when I switched. But my son is in Utica, and I love it. I love it. And now it's so cool because, well, I hate to see that there's some political drama, you know, on the board and whatever. I mean, you see, like, the Board of Education is all these white people, old men, don't have any kids in the school. Don't have any kids in the district at all.
Right.
You know, and I don't understand that. But anyway, that's another podcast. But the school itself, a lot of people talk down upon it, you know, and it bothers me because if you love Utica so much, why are you moving your family into the suburbs? And then you want people to support your business downtown. What about all these people that live here that need your type of parenting and your type of involvement in the district in Utica? If I had 10 moms that could be involved in the City of Utica School District every day, like in Whitesboro, you get to be put in a lottery because there's so many stay-at-home moms. You don't even get to go in when you want to. You get put in a lottery, and maybe you get to go in. I got to go in once. And now with the Utica, they don't have anyone to go in. So you want to go in? Let me know when. With COVID now, you can't, but like when that's ready, you know. And it's amazing, you know. So if some of these families that loved Utica so much supported this community by actually living here, you can make a huge change in the quality of education in that school because it doesn't have support from home that it needs, you know. And that's a big difference.
It is.
So that bothers me. And when I see the problems, now that I have teenagers, you know, I have a senior in high school in Whitesboro. And the things I hear, and the pot, and the drinking, and blah, 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 all the same crap that you think is so bad is in Whitesboro, and it's all over the place. And, you know, you can't say anywhere's any better, you know? So they have more money. Right. So what? Those kids have more money to buy pot. So what are you going to do? You know? So it's just... It's silly.
You called it pot.
Yeah. Weed. Yeah.
I know.
Whatever you want me to call it. But it's true.
You dated yourself by calling it pot.
Oh, I know. They told my parents were hippies.
You know, recently I heard a family say, "Oh, I will never send my kid to Proctor. No way. I'm going to send him to Notre Dame." And I'm like, you know what? I hate to tell you, but the Catholic school kids were the ones that turned out the worst. And I hate to say it, but in my experiences in growing up and stuff, it was always the kid from the Catholic school that was getting in trouble, getting arrested, doing heroin or whatever before it was the kid in the public school. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but I know Proctor has this misconnotation going on with it, but it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. Yeah. It's not the freaking zoo. It's not like, you know, you're not taking your life in danger by going into the hallways of Proctor High School. It's not. I'm a product of that school. I know. Yeah. I mean, no, it's changed a little bit here and there, but it just cracks me up to have this conception that Proctor is just such this bad school, and it's really not.
It's not. You know? And I love it. Like, I'm super excited to be a parent in the district that loves the kids, wants them to come over, just be involved, because it's true that there are more kids in a bigger city school, of course, right. And there are more problems because you have more kids, and there are more kids that don't have a lot of good influence at home because it's a bigger school. So there's the average is a little higher of kids in that situation, whatever. So you're a parent around that's an influence to kids that maybe don't have that mentorship, right, or whatever. So if you have 5 minutes in a classroom to say, "Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing today?" and that kid remembers you, like, that's awesome. Right. That's valuable, and that's a community effort. You know, and if people didn't run away from that, like, these kids don't deserve to have a stay-at-home mom in the classroom. That's sad that you feel that way, because there's kids that still live here, and you think, you know, you're creating this amazing community because you have a business downtown, but you're running away from these children that need you to be in their school district too. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like it if you want to support Utica and you want to be downtown, you want to do all this stuff, live in the district. Mm-hmm. That's my big thing. When you actually start living in the district, I'll believe you that you actually care about Utica.
Mm-hmm. I think what lacks in the private schools is that cultural education, and I think that's desperately needed too. Yeah. You know, because then you get that whole racial divide, if you will. Like, oh my God, I'm not going next to him. He's of a different color. He's Asian. No, but if you went to a public school, you're going to get less of that.
Yeah. Well, in the suburbs here, there's not much diversity at all.
Right.
And you know, maybe there is some, but it's not. It's what do you say? This is one of the worst segregated areas, the worst in the state of New York, because of how much diversity is in Utica. Mm-hmm. And literally you cross over the line to New Hartford and it's like, boom.
It's white bread.
I mean, yeah, because we have like 45 different languages spoken approximately. I don't know what the exact number
in Utica
city
school
limits.
District. Yep.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's amazing. You know, and then we go into like these outside districts the square mileage or the square mileage of this area is very small. You know, so considering that we have 45 spoken languages in this area, you know. Amazing. So when you go over these borders into these suburbs that are just literally a walk away, and it's like you said, white bread, you know, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It really is.
So, and there's a misunderstanding of how that works, which I don't understand. Like, all you have to do is just walk down and get some amazing food somewhere in these neighborhoods, and you feel like, wow, man, like, we have some amazing stuff here to offer. And I wish there was more, you know, integrative support from the outside surrounding areas, and didn't feel so threatened or intimidated to do that. You know?
You get people from the suburbs that are absolutely afraid to come to Utica. Afraid.
Yes.
And it's like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's so frightening about Utica?
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's some parts of Utica maybe you shouldn't journey into, but like you said, there's such this great food culture, and there's a lot you can learn a lot. Yeah. You can get quite the cultural education just walking around the streets of Utica.
Totally. And you can, I mean, like, I think the most importantly, what we can all learn and recognize is that every human out there in the world, like, the thing that relates us all together is that we just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And we want to love our families and do the things that we love, and that's it. And if we all appreciated that, we'd understand, like, nobody's out here to hurt you. I live next door to Muslims. I would never think in a million years that they were there to do something bad to me. Ever. They're amazing. They cook food. They send it over. They all work at Chobani. They bring cases of yogurt to my house all the time. Like, we live on Chobani at my house. You know, and it's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And the reality is that they are living there, working hard, doing the best things for their family. I respect that. I'm not over there trying to change them. They're not over in my house trying to change me. And we just coexist. And it's amazing. And that can be everywhere. You know, it's when I go over there and start trying to ask them to change something, they're going to be like, yo, lady, get out of my, you know, space here, you know? So it's just respecting each other in a way that we have to understand and have compassion that what's important to you doesn't, just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And I have to respect that, because I would never expect you to see the things that are important to me as wrong. Right? They're important to me. So, and the sooner we can understand that, the better we can all coexist with each other.
And that's what's lacking in this world today, is the compromise with one another. It's like my way or no way, you know. It's my opinion, and if you don't like that, go fuck yourself, you know. And a lot has to do with social media. I think social media is a double-edged sword. I mean, as we're live on social media right now, and if you are watching on Facebook, please click the share button. But it also gives every idiot a platform to voice their opinion. And I say this a lot too, like Facebook and social media was a different atmosphere 10, 15 years ago. It's when I hate to say it again, but the older generation that got on the social media and started posting their politics and stuff, that's when it became kind of a war zone. Where before, when it first got started, it was reconnecting with old friends and sharing music. It was great. Like MySpace and the beginnings of Facebook, it was great, you know, and sharing food and sharing recipes and reconnecting with old friends and sharing music and promoting events. And that's what it was about. It wasn't about your fucking politics. It was never about it. But then somehow down the road, we hit this portal, and now it's all politics. And, you know, I unfollow people left and right every day because I don't want to see politics. I want to see music. I want to see friends. I want to see, that's what I want to see on my social media. So if I unfollowed you, unfriend you, know why. Because I don't want to see it. I'm not one to get into political conversation. I have my views, but it's none of your business what my views are. Just like it's none of my business what your views are. I don't care what your views are. I don't give a shit what your views are. You know, I know what I believe in, and that's the way I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to go out there and preach it to everybody. But you're not going to change somebody's opinion because you posted this thing, and then all of a sudden all the people that follow you and are gaslighting you are like, yeah, you're right. You're only feeding into your little base. You're not changing anybody's mind.
Totally.
And I think that's what's the problem here, is the compromise, and social media has a lot to do with the internet in general, you know?
Well, I think it's all emotional intelligence. And if you can understand, I guess, the reason somebody would post something, you know, if it's like a really strong, you know, whether it's extreme this way, that way, I don't fucking care. They're all too much to me.
It is.
They're posting something because they have a fear around something that offers a solution to, right? So even religion, you know, like, oh, you believe in this, this, and this, or you're going to hell. You know, that's a scary place, so you better believe it. So it's like whatever we want to show, you know, and I'm all about all kinds of religions and all kinds of whatever, but like it's all based on what your fears and what you feel good doing. That's in the bottom, in the end of the day, that's all it is. So it's funny because we all have different experiences in life that give us those fears and those biases. So when you're talking to me about yours, I'm talking to you about mine. That's not going to be the same. So we're going to have different things that soothe us or make us feel more comfortable. You know, so it's terrible because you throw some opinion out there in social media, it goes like this with all the people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then you throw something else in there. Well, now we're like this. So instead of being like this, now we're like this. And now we have these people like, oh, but they're kind of gray over here. They'd rather be kind of over here, but they're not because their friends over here. And it's just, they're literally one opinion will do this with everybody. Right. So, but now it's like, okay, so if you believe this, then you have to be in this team. And that's stupid too, because it's not, you know, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't automatically, because you have an opinion about this, you are anti this or you're this.
Right.
You know? I hate that.
Me too.
Because it's just to confuse people, stir up fear, and then what are you told to believe when you're nervous about it? What are you told to believe when you're scared? What are you told to believe when we're in a divide right now? You know, like you got to pay attention like that.
And it's a common respect that we need to have for one another. We have different opinions, and that's what the world is freaking based on. And, you know, before social media, there was not really so much of a great divide as it was.
There definitely wasn't, because nobody, you didn't talk about these personal things with people.
Right.
You didn't. Even in bar life, right? No politics, no religion.
That was my rule of thumb at the electric company for 10 years.
Don't
talk politics, don't talk religion. And nobody did. Nobody did. But that was bar life. You know, I think it was because you're in, I think, you know, any hair salon, anywhere you go and you sit for any amount of time, that was the case because it caused discomfort.
And who wanted to hear it? You were there to let it go and then have a good time, you know? So, and now because of social media, so in your comfort of your home where you're comfortable, you use it as a filter to share this bullshit that you feel, which sure, it's important to you, but it's not being received in a comfort way when it's like really abrasive to somebody else. So it's, yeah, and you're not face to face. Like you still, if you took all these people that are talking shit on Facebook and put them all in public in the same space and didn't show each other's names, and you just had to like mingle with each other, I guarantee it'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because nobody would talk like that in face to face.
You're right.
Nobody would.
Right. Too many keyboard warriors out there.
Yeah, it's sad.
It really is sad.
Yeah.
And it's like these keyboard warriors, like you said, if you come face to face, you're not jumping. There's no way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And if you didn't know like their names, like if it was all like, here's a group of people you've never met before, this guy actually says stuff that's super against what he says, and just put them all in the same space, it would be a really neat experiment.
Yeah.
They'd be fine.
Yeah. I agree. And that would be quite the experiment to try.
Yeah.
You know, there was that commercial a while back where they, you know, we had
I was in Denmark or something like that.
Was
about
it
the
Denmark?
questions.
Yeah.
And
you know, you had the far right guy and the far left guy, and
they related them. Like one had like babysat him or delivered a baby or did something like in his family that connected them on a really positive note.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that the one you're talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, it was really sweet.
There was a couple different experiences where they put these people in the room, you know, and they made them fill out a questionnaire. And the questionnaire, they answered it. And so they paired the people that were most opposite with each other, didn't let them know.
Oh, yeah, this is different.
And then, of course, there was some kind of connection that they would make on different levels, not politics or not religion. And they had all these things in common. But when it came to politics and religion, they didn't.
Yeah.
But you didn't see them battling back and forth. So you got a difference of opinion. So do I. But that's good. That's what makes this world so great.
Yeah.
Is because these people. I mean, if we were all alike, this world would suck.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't want to be like anybody else. I'm my own individual.
Yeah. It's like literally like where our country comes from is like the freedom to think for yourself,
Exactly.
you know, and do what works for you.
Right.
You know, this independence, you know, the Protestants, you know. So, but yeah, not to all of a sudden get here and be in the same bracket and then hate the ones that don't want that. You
Right.
know? Like it's completely beats the purpose and how we founded.
Too much hate in this world.
Yeah.
There is. We need to erase the hate, people, and start compromising with one another.
It's pain within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bottom line. If you're hating on somebody, that's a reflection of how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm. We're all born with love.
Yeah.
Hate's taught.
Yes. 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 And also driven by our own fears. So experiences that we've had in our childhood that made us feel uncomfortable. So we don't ever want to experience that again. So we will hate on anyone that could make you feel that way or whatever. And that's all like deeply driven in your subconscious for sure. So anything that would ever make you feel a way of, you know, if you've been abandoned or whatever, like that, if it's making you feel a little bit uneasy in that feeling, you're not going to like it. And automatically it's a problem on someone else versus like, okay, I need to fix how I feel about that feeling because that shouldn't get me this upset.
How would you coach somebody who's all full of hate and trying to level up? Like, I know I have these issues and stuff like that, but I want to change because I feel like everybody can change in their life, right?
Yeah.
You can change the way you think. People can change their weight. They can change their diet. They can change drug addicts. They can change. And I feel like everybody can change in one way, shape, or form. So how would you change somebody who's full of hate and full of like racist remarks and stuff like that? How would you coach somebody like that?
That's such a hard question because if somebody was sitting here with me right now and they wanted to change, because the first thing is they have to want to change.
Correct.
If you don't want to change, I can say whatever you want to say and they're going to hate it because they're not open to it. It's like somebody knocking on your door selling religion. You're like, get the heck out of here. I'm eating dinner right now, right? So you want to make sure it's somebody who wants to open the door to changing something that they see a specific way. And then you kind of like, you talk about like, what is the thing that you'd like to change, right? And they say, okay, this. So if racism, you know, like, so let's talk about racism. Where have you first heard about it? Like, what's the experience with it? Why do you hate this? Like, what happened that made you feel this way, right? Because something along the line you've done to feel safe by believing this, right? You've convinced yourself that this is how it has to be to feel safe. was whether it was something you witnessed, something you were told, something whatever, or even maybe something happened between you and somebody from another race, which is coincidence that they were another race. So now you're kind of tainted against the whole race because this happened, right? So, but the cleanup around that is something internal that you've learned that you need to unlearn. So you got to dig around a little.
How do you
Where
unlearn
did this
things,
come
though?
from? Well, so have you ever heard of neuroplasticity? I think we've talked about it before on the set. But, you know, neuroplasticity is the ability for our mind to kind of re-channel our knee-jerk reactions.
Change
So
your mindset.
if racism, yes, if racism is something that you're talking about, like I need to change racism. And so when I see somebody who from a different race, immediately I'm just like, oh, you know, okay, so those are the moments that's of a high emotion, right? We're in drama. We feel persecuted because somebody else is in the room from a different race. We don't like it. We feel uncomfortable. We feel uneasy, whatever. So we're going to go into our avoidance, which is like a part of our rescue, you know, to help you feel safe, whether it's, you know, leaving the room, arguing with them, fighting, you know, causing a drama for no reason. You see that all the time, right? In social media. You know, whatever it is you do to make yourself feel better, that's the moment you need to stop and relearn something else that's going to make you feel better. Something else that's going to make you feel safe, right? But you don't know what that is until you recognize that, wow, when I'm feeling emotional, this is what I do every single fucking time. When I'm feeling persecuted and I'm feeling victimized by something, this is what I do every single time to avoid dealing with that shit. That's the thing you need to understand about yourself. We all have it. Different things. Whether we're talking about racism, we're talking about whatever, whenever there's a moment of drama, we always have something that we want to do to make us feel safe. This is where abuse of anything happens. Alcohol, smoking, eating, emotional eaters. Okay. They don't feel good. They feel like pissed off at the day they go to eat, you know, but it's also like anything to avoid, right? You got people that go to the gym. I use this example all the time. They go to the gym for 3 hours because it's the gym. It's healthy. Well, no, you're going there for 3 hours. Because you don't want to go home to your family because you got a shitty situation going on you got to tend to, right? So anytime there's a moment of drama, you need to become aware of the things that you do so you can stop doing them, right? Because once you become aware of it, like, oh shit, here I go again. I'm going to do that. I don't want to do that, right? And then you can start to identify small tasks, little things at a time, to start changing the relationship between what's persecuting you and making you feel like a victim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I use a whiteboard when I'm coaching. So I draw this all out. So I'm like doing all this stuff with my hand.
I thought you were just Italian and you talk with your hands.
No. So if that doesn't make sense, we'll do this one day. We'll do this live.
We've talked about this.
I know. And we got to do it because it's really fun. And I've done a lot of like little.
You just want to see me cry on air.
No. It's you gotta be, you know, when you're ready.
I'm ready. I told you I'm ready. We had that conversation a while ago when we were all out hanging out that one night.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah I'm ready. Like, I need to, you know, dig deep a little bit. There's some things I need to change my mindset on too.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I have problems in relationships, like, and I think a lot of that has my problems. You know, always searching, but the minute I see a red flag, I run. I'm always looking for flaws in the people, so I have the opportunity to run.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dealing with it now.
Yeah, well, because we all have flaws, so you're always going to be safe that way. No one can ever leave you or abandon you because you're safe. Because the second you see somebody show true colors, which we all have, you can go, right? And that's not healthy because you're going to go from everything. We all have shit. We are human. Everybody has shit, right? And you got to kind of reverse that a little bit and look at what's really important to you, see what your core values are, what you're not willing to take for granted in life, right? What you need to add to your own life. And then make sure you're following those things for your own self, right? Like I have integrity. I care about my family. I'm involved in growth. I love my health, right? Get all those things in tune with yourself. And then you find somebody that would honor those and never break those. Because then when shit hits the fan and you start seeing true colors and things that there's like flaws, oh my God, you're like, wait a second though. We match at a core level. We match at a core level. We see the bigger picture and then you can relate and they're not going anywhere, right? So then you can start to see where your own abandonment issues are being your, you know, kind of running the show, and you have to stop doing that. You have to see, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of confusing my own self how I'm saying this right now. I said it backwards because, once you see something that wants to make you leave because it starts to feel like this could be bad, and when it's bad, they go, right? I'm going to go first because I'm going to avoid it. I'm not going to deal with that. rather than, you know what? No, I'm going to lean in because this person lined up with me and my core values, and I honor that. And I see a bigger picture here. So I'm going to lean in farther and be vulnerable and share why I didn't like that because it made me feel like this. And then I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to take the chance that me sharing that, they're going to stay and be even stronger because they're going to understand that that made me feel bad, but I'm working on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it creates a stronger bond versus I'm out every time. Because all that's going to happen, if you're out every time, life's just going to keep giving you people until you face that lesson. Right? So it's going to just go until you say, all right, Z, this isn't working this time. Like, I have to stop doing this, right? And take it to the next level yourself, right? And the universe will just keep giving you lessons, and they'll get louder and more crazy and more loud and more crazy until you say, okay, I hear it. I see it. I'm doing this. I'm responsible for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will stop.
Yeah.
And then the next thing will come, right? So it's a growing process, and it never stops, right? But that's when you find real love and real stuff that you won't ever fail because you're not failing yourself, right? And the love comes from within you, right? You're not afraid of that.
Sometimes my problem too is I have a hard time expressing myself in those manners. You know, I mean, I can express myself in many different ways, but if I feel like I'm being backed up against the wall or being cornered or something, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been through that. I mean, Heather, you've seen me go through a bunch of relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and that's pretty much, you know, a lot of times I'm at the helm of all that. You know, and I admit it. I admit my mistakes. I need to learn how to correct my mistakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just think that just bouncing out, I mean, I do have abandonment issues and stuff like that. So I think sometimes bouncing is always my escape plan, or have some kind of, you know, so now how do I lean into that, you know?
Well, so you got to, all right. So there's our growth zone.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, so
you don't have any place to be, do you?
4:45. We're fine. All right. So when we're in an uncomfortable situation that we don't want to bounce out of, right? You've had enough. You want to lean in, right? You got to identify what are 3 things I can do, what I can do, right? Not 3 things that I don't want to do. It makes me sweat thinking about it, right? You don't want to panic, right? Because then you're going to bounce because you're like, I'm panicking right now. You got to pick something that works for you. Growth is slow sometimes. Sometimes some people can pick something and like they're in it. The more bullshit you've been through in life, usually the faster you are. You know, the longer you've been working in personal growth work, you're fast. I'm fast. I don't have time for bullshit, right? And that's sometimes I'm blunt because I'm sorry. I'm used to it, right? I've had so much bullshit. I'm used to it. I don't have time. We agreed on this. You didn't show up. I'm done. Sorry. You know, make it up to me and we'll talk, right? That's it. So you got to identify something that works for you in your own growth process. So it's not a panic. So you're in your current reality. You want to get in your growth zone, but not in the panic zone, right? So pick something. So if vulnerability is something that you think you need to work on, then you share something in that moment, right? That's going to help soothe you so you're heard, right? It's really important that we, especially in relationships, that you hear each other. So that may be a moment that somebody does something and you're like, you know what? That really made me feel like this, or this made me, you know, or whatever it is. I don't know what your situation is, right? Because we don't have any like details, but I'm sure there's something you can share that made you feel a certain way. And that's a little bit of vulnerability, and they have an opportunity to respond. And then you have an opportunity to respond to that, but it creates dialogue and communication. Right. And that's like the foundation of all relationships. Right. If you can't be vulnerable and have communication and compromise around that, you're not going anywhere. Right. You're going to be constantly bouncing. So pick like 3 things, simple things that you can do. Right. And that, so if I was with a client right now, we would talk about a homework assignment around that. They would do it. You know, we follow up the next week. So then we identify a couple more things, right? We're going to stretch that growth zone a little bit bigger every time. And before you know it, you're doing something like, shit, I never would have done that 2 years ago, right? But you stretched your growth zone. You would have been panicking about it 2 years ago, but now you're like, this is cool. Like, I can do that. I can do that, right? And we can look back and look at all types of situations where we never imagined we'd get through it, right? So It's possible, but you got to pick steps that are appropriate to your growth. So it makes you feel a little uneasy, makes you feel a little uncomfortable, like those butterflies, but it doesn't make you sweat and freak out, right? Because you don't want to do that because that's too much. It's too far, right? You kind of have to identify something that's more realistic, but still makes you feel uncomfortable. Growth happens when you're not comfortable.
Right, exactly. You can't grow if you're stagnant, right?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And establishing boundaries.
Boundaries are super important. Because, but you got to know, like, your boundaries. Sometimes you got to sit down and see what's worth the boundary and what's worth, like, get the fuck out of my life.
The bullshit, right?
Because you got to set boundaries. There's 3 types of business. There's your business, there's their business, and then there's God's business, universe, whatever you feel hits your heart, right? Some people don't believe in this, blah, blah, blah. If it's a health issue, it's God, universe, whatever. You can't control it. What can you control? I have to take this step. I have to take this step. I've been given information today that I have to make a decision about and have more information tomorrow, blah, 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 right? And you just organize your steps based on the thing that you were given, right? Then there's their business. An example of this would be, so your kid calls you, you're a grown-ass adult kid, and they can't afford their car payments. You're going to pay it for them because they're calling you crying. Or are you teaching them how to work, or are you teaching them that you're going to take care of it every time they call you, and now you've created a cycle in their life that they're calling you every time there's drama, rather than learn how to take care of it, they're calling you and you're saving them. Meanwhile, you can't afford your own bills because you just paid your kid's car payment. Okay? So that's where you set a boundary. I love my child, but I will not pay your bills for you. It's really important that I want you to learn this life skill, right? That's a boundary. It's just an example. There's so many examples.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's things that are my business. So things that happen in my life, right? My relationship. I want to be happy. My happiness is my business. So if I need to be happy, these are the things I need. It's your responsibility to make sure that in your relationship, you get the things that you want. Right? If you say, I want this, I want this, I want this, and they're like, ugh, I don't like any of those things, then the boundary is, I don't want a relationship with you because these are the things that are really important to me. Right? So if they say, well, okay, that's important, but this one, can we like work on that one? Can we compromise? We're like, yeah, then it's up to you to make that decision, right? Is that something you can compromise, or is that something, nope, that's a core value. I'm not compromising that at all, right? And then you have those conversations, right? It's an open communication, but it is your responsibility in your business, in your relationship, your jobs, your family life, everything. Your happiness is your business, and it's your responsibility to have it, to take care of it, and to cherish it. And it's like a little flower. You have to water it. You have to take care of it. No one else is responsible to do that for you.
Right.
So, and even in a happy relationship, so Sean and I would consider we have a really good relationship.
You do.
It's rock solid.
Yeah.
We have
it's
fights.
It's inspiring watching you
Yeah.
two.
Well, we have fights.
Of course
we have shit hitting the fan. We
Yep.
have a lot of kids. We have a lot of outside sources. We have things that are going on that are none of our business, but we have to be there as good guidance, so there's all these things happening that test you all the time. You've got to be willing certain times to say, okay, this I'm going to get involved with, this I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not. And you have to preserve yourself. You have to. So you can be rock solid and really strong in all the things you have going on, right? You can't have a drain suck that's not filling you back up. You can't. You've got to be able to water all the things and make sure you're being replenished with all the things and being heard and honored. If there's something really important to Sean or really important to me, like we have to make sure that that's known, because if you're not talking about it, then that's your responsibility, because nobody's good at guessing games. And that's, it's kind of a game when somebody's being like, well, you didn't do it. Well, you never told me. And now you want to argue about it? You never told me. So it's like really important that if you need something, you need to talk about it. You need to be totally okay and willing to talk about it, even if you think they're going to go. Because one day, the things that are important to you, you're going to talk about, and the person's actually going to stay, and that's going to be your person. Yeah.
Excellent point. I love you, Heather.
Yeah.
I do. I got a lot of love for you and Sean and everything that you're doing. Promote the book before we get out of here.
Yeah. So
you got to get out of here pretty soon.
Yeah. So anyway, it's Women Who Shine. You can go to my website, unstoppableyoucoach.com, and then you can find the link for this direct. Because there's this version, but I get the royalties to the version with my face on it.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. So buy that version.
Yeah. So, and if you see me local, I'll I'll have some copies and I'll sign them. That's so weird. People are asking. I'm like, oh yeah.
You sell them out of the back of the trunk.
Yeah. But, I mean, what local author doesn't have their books in their car, right?
True.
So,
We'll meet her at Walmart every Saturday.
yeah, next to the Girl Scout cookies.
And then soon you'll be doing a book signing tour. Who knows? I mean, that would be great. Going to a little book signing thing.
Well, I mean, I want to throw another plug out for my retreat.
Of course.
That's coming up. There's 4 months away. That's an incredible opportunity that now at this point, like they always sell out and we got 4 months ahead. You can get your plane tickets ahead of time. It's 4 months away. So your tickets will still be reasonably priced. The longer you wait, the higher that goes because that's the only thing not included.
Is it strictly women or is it men and women?
It's strictly women. I want to do a men's one, but I just, one of the things that's going to be hard if I do only men is that I have to get more space for cars. Because they're just bigger guys. They want to be on top of each other. Not that the girls want to be like that, but men are just different, bigger boned. And you just, so, and right now, like we get a couple of cars. We're zooming around the whole island doing really cool stuff. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's special. It's a unique thing I've always done for women. So
when's the retreat again?
It's January 7th through the 14th. We stay right in Rincon, Puerto Rico, right on the water. We see the sunset every day. We have a little yoga session every morning. All abilities are welcome. I've had women from 23 years old up to 67 attend. It's an amazing, incredible sisterhood that you experience all week long while you're there on the water. And you get to see some non-touristy spots. So even if you've been to Puerto Rico and you've only been in the San Juan metro area, this is out in the countryside. We are in the non-touristy areas, in the villages and towns. And I am proud to say that Unstoppable You, by bringing this retreat into Puerto Rico, has contributed over $40,000 to communities there by just existing and renting and buying groceries and spending.
That gets a bell.
Yeah, I'm
so
super
cool.
proud of that. And, in response to Maria devastating the island, it was something I could do that would give back a little bit. And so I push as much as I can for the girls. We go to this art walk every Thursday night there, where all local artisans are there with their stuff. And I tell them all week, don't buy that. That's made in China. I'm going to take you somewhere Thursday. You're going to find something made in Puerto Rico. And so we just really try to encourage local spending when we're doing it.
Awesome. And
only working with companies that are owned on the island and not here in the States. So the money stays there.
Are you taking on new clients for life coaching?
Yeah, it's hit or miss right now. Sometimes I have a wait list. It's I mean, I'm proud to say, it's great, but
it's a great thing.
But at the same time, like mental health is huge right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely reach out to me. unstoppableyoucoach.com.
Awesome.
You can find everything there. So.
Awesome. Great. You rock, Heather. Let's do this again really soon. Congratulations. So proud of you on this book and everything that you're doing. And we got to get your podcast up and rolling.
I know. Well, the pandemic's
it's not
over
like
now.
You have time to do all this
shit. The baby's bigger. I had the baby. She's like 13 months now. That's been the hardest part because I like doing it at night because it gives people something to do after they settle down.
Right.
So now she's more on a routine, sleeping through the night. Pandemic is it over? I don't know what's going on with this, but so I think like we're getting to the end of that tunnel in my life where so
awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks so much,
Z. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you to EJA Moving Services. Joey's at 307. You want a good meal this week? Call 315-864-3527. Get yourself a reservation. Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longaretta, Saranac Brewery, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only. Get yourself some nut rub and some ball wash. And also another author on the D scene. His name's Billy the Liquor Guy. He's got a great book about undercover agents. It's called Under Too Long. You can pretty much get it on Amazon or wherever you get your books. Tomorrow we'll be back with the Uncle Louie Variety Show. Members only is coming back. I'm pretty excited about that, as well as Hold the Sarcasm, and gonna have a fun-filled day with Carlo and Lou from the Uncle Louie Variety Show. You guys all have yourself a good day. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we address one thing right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You talk about ball wash?
No, J.R. DeLuca.
Yeah.
He said something that's interesting, and I have. Can I comment on it really
Sure,
fast?
Justin. Yeah, I know Justin.
Okay, cool. So, Justin, I appreciate this comment, and you're not going to get crucified for it, but this is, I think, where we misunderstand. We don't have to hang out with people that are different than us because literally it's okay to coexist among people that are different than us, right? We don't have to teach our kids. Like, we can teach our kids to be understanding that they're different than us, and then coexist around them and be kind to them, but literally trying to be around them and we're not feeling their vibe is exactly what's wrong, because we don't need to be friends with everybody. social media gives us that false feeling that we need to be friends with. We don't need to be friends with everybody.
True.
That's why there's things going wrong, because you're around people that are trying to change you or whatever. So I think it's better to be kind to the people that are different than us and exist next to them. But we don't have to be having them at our house.
Great words. Be kind to one another. It's super important to be kind to one another, no matter what. Everybody's struggling with something.
Yeah.
So if you could trigger like some anger out of anybody just by being a dick or being an asshole to somebody, just be kind to one another.
Yeah.
I think it's super important.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Totally. Appreciate the comments.
Awesome. Thank you to everybody that has commented on Facebook. If you are watching on Facebook, please click the share button and help spread the word of all the great things my guest Heather Beebe is doing these days. When's the wedding?
Should I say it?
Yeah, can you?
New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Next year.
Next year, New Year's Eve. Gotcha. For some reason, I was thinking it was this year, but it's next year.
No, next year.
Ah,
so
cool.
Everyone has a full year and a half to like.
I got to block that out.
Not book their
I'm
music.
getting drunk.
So am I.
You guys have yourself a good day. Later.